Chat, how we doing? Even though we are appearing on. Okay, the screen's weird. Sometimes it pops, sometimes it don't. Weird display issue, man. Happy day of week inserted here. It's Thursday. I knew that. Happy Thursday, April 8, 2021, man. I hope you guys are enjoying your day thus far. I know where I'm at. Weather is doggone beautiful. This bang is for you. Bang number 2 of the day. That can't be good. But I don't care. Bang is so good. And I need the energy, man. We've been up all day. All day. We got up early today to play some baseball. And basketball's still on deck, man. So I'm glad you guys are here. I'm happy to see you guys that maybe we saw this morning talking baseball. Ready to talk some basketball. Should be a interesting slate. We're already seeing egregious amounts of chalk develop with the Toronto Raptors down to 8 players. It's weird. Josh Jennings in the chat. T-Spaz. Des, Chris Gray. Your nation is taking off. We really gotta have to slap that on some merch, man. You guys doing all right this morning? Good morning. What up, Quan? Good afternoon. What up, Sen? What up, babe? Hey, I gotta run and get me my bang energy. Yo, my one day bang is gonna give me the hookup. And it's not just any bang. Last week, I made an order, Instacart order. I think I ordered either 7 or 10 black cherry vanillas. And they brought me like a couple of the black cherries, and then they loaded me up on some like cotton candy stuff. It's not the same. It's not the same. You gotta be on the black cherries. So, yeah, maybe one day we'll get the hookup. But if you go to the influencer ambassador application page for the Bang Energy, I'll show you guys ambassador. A lot of these energy companies, they have at least an entry way for you guys to apply and be maybe sponsored or influencer or something like that. So I was like, you know what? I drink Bang a lot. I could probably list off 20 people in my life that have tried Bang due to my recommendation. And then when you go to their influencer application page, it's people that look like this, and I don't look like that. So I just never applied. So, we'll just go ahead and spot them the plugs for free, man. Happy Thursday. I'm Gun, twitter.com/Gundacker. We are going to be joined right now by the Canadian Skip Bayless.
Yo.
How we doing?
Another day, another grind. Looks like my early state baseball. The Mets aren't doing their thing.
The Mets have stranded no less than 800 base runners. Don't bother looking it up. They've got the rookie. The kid had like 5 walks before he left. They've stranded a small village. I tweeted like the Mets are not capitalizing with runners on or with runners in scoring position. It's a doggone.
I've been like unlucky, like they're just getting like line drives to someone.
It's a little bit of everything, man. A little bit of double play action, a little bit. It's just they're not capitalizing. So, what are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah, no team has gone off yet. So kind of hoping that the White Sox, if they can
the Rockies are knocking on the door, yeah. I was higher on the Rockies than the D-backs. But core stacks that I ended up with was I had Rockies, Mets, Red Sox, which I was stunned to see them at collectively under 15% owned. Twins, of course. I'm very high on Twins. I got a lot of Nelson Cruz. My 3 homer calls of the day were Verdugo, Devers, and Nelson Cruz. Devers got his. Verdugo, I think, got a double. So the power's been there for me. So I'm hoping the close is strong. But majority of my lineups rest on Corbin Burns and Jose Barrios. Also, I ended up running some Royal stacks. It sounds like Lance Lynn is very popular today. And I just think that the Royals are a little bit better than publicly perceived. Not that they're great, but they're better. And Lance Lynn is a one-pitch pitcher. So I'm hoping to maybe get on the
pitcher running too. So we'll see how he does. Yeah, hopefully big something in NBA.
Yeah. What's up, Buzzworld? What's up, Life of Sen? Man, chat's on it today. Good afternoon. A little later show today. We got a 30-minute late lock versus the usual standpoint. Yesterday, real quickly, Russell Westbrook led the slate in fantasy points, 6 to 8.5. Like I said, he's in the pool with or without Bradley Beal. We talked in the pre-lock chat. I think Young C was telling me that Russell Westbrook to bet triple-double odds was negative money. Like, if you said yes for him to get a triple-double, it was like minus 115, 120, something like that. And then it was like plus money if you bet it against it. I was like, that's dumb, but how, like, it happened. I, like you have to bet against it. I wouldn't, but it's just like crazy. Cat, of course, one of my favorite plays. Goga Batadze was one of the most popular chalk plays. Donovan Mitchell, a little overtime there, ended up being nutty at the end of the night. Jaylen Brown, it's a little bit different, but I tell you what, I had a nice chunk of all these guys. It was a profitable night for me overall. On DraftKings, I didn't beat the clock. My CSV did not upload, and I lost the first 2 games, the Wizards and the Pacers value. So I had to scramble afterwards to kind of throw things together. Ended up losing $20 on DraftKings, but I almost 3x'd on FanDuel. So it was fine nonetheless. And it was a profitable night. There was really no stuns or surprises. A big game by
a couple guys drew me where I could have like a really good night.
That OT game in Utah. So that was last night. Hopefully you guys watched and did well.
Game that I said, right? Chris Paul, all those guys. I guess they got Terry Rozier and Lonzo Ball.
Those were the bums. And I guess when you look back at it, Pelicans, I think it was like their 5th game in X amount of nights. So I get that. Terry Rozier definitely a letdown. The Suns game went to overtime. Chris Paul went to 48 fantasy points, 8 and 45, and then Devin Booker 43. But for me, the play was Donovan Mitchell 57. He had 41 real points last night in 41 minutes. So
I think with Goga, he had a great game, but almost didn't matter because if you went with a Kongwu, they essentially scored the same at the same price.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of both, but Okongwu is what bailed me out on DK because Goga was like 70% owned, and I was like, well, I'm gonna lose out on that. But luckily, Clint Capella was out, so I leaned on Okongwu, and I had some lineups that actually had a shot at the end of the night on DK, but like I said, overall $20 loss. But that's only because I missed the first 2 games.
Was a bum.
Yeah, I wasn't super stoked. I wasn't gonna. Yeah.
You know who came through? My boy Kyle Anderson. Could be my favorite DFS player from now on. Just get him right every.
How'd they get tickets?
Talk about it.
Fantasy Labs, 3 p.m. News to watch. Giannis Antetokounmpo doubtful. Kristaps Porzingis is a rest candidate on a back-to-back. Maxi Kleber questionable. Yusuf Nurkic questionable. Mason Plumlee questionable. Mike Conley rest candidate was not listed on the injury report, but it is a back-to-back, and they did go to overtime yesterday. So in my early projections, I just went ahead and kind of planned for him being out. And to parlay that with some other news, Jordan Clarkson, I believe, was listed as doubtful. Yeah. So it could be deep minutes for Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles should Conley continue to sit the night 2 of a back-to-back. He has played a back-to-back this season, I think in February, but it was it was a collective 25 minutes from both games. This is a different situation. So
Donovan Mitchell's going to be annoying today.
Look out for that. Kyle Kuzma questionable. Zach LaVine probable. Zach LaVine being probable is intriguing to me. If he also, to catch everyone up on the slate, the Raptors, they received some suspensions. Fred VanVleet was part of the hand down of discipline. DeAndre Bembry suspended. OG Anunoby only got a $30K fine. But what this is going to do to the Raptors is only give them 8 available, which the Raptors have just been not great anyway. The Bulls were only 4-point favorites. I was like, whoa. So a little wild. What I'm getting at here is the Raptors are going to be probably aggressive chalk, and I can't really push back. But it's like, what's that say about the Bulls if they're only 4-point favorites right now? So look out for that.
Bulls don't play any defense.
Yeah, that'll be the kind of the debate of the slate is how much is too many Raptors, and kind of the Raptors become the new Pacers, right? Let's get caught up on chat. Look at the old lady in chat. Let's go. Shout out to the love. What's up, Pete? What's up, Doug? What's up? That's it. Okay, boom. Look forward to your next stream. Yeah, so again, if you guys came for baseball, I didn't do baseball on this channel today. We did Osmo this morning, and then it's going to be the same tomorrow. It's going to be an afternoon stream on the Osmo channel. So if you were looking for my baseball content, just know it's going to be over there. So if for some reason you are not subbed to the Osmo YouTube channel, I don't know what you're like. What is your life? Go do it. And we'll be over there tomorrow afternoon live, a couple hours before lock, but we gotta jump into it. We still got copious amounts of basketball tonight. Let's go on, do it. Let's go on, do it. Chat, be free to chime in game by game here. Let me know your thoughts. Some of you guys have already done some research on the day. You've got a head start on me. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know the whys, the whos. And then also if you're watching some baseball and somebody homers, go on, drop it in the chat too. It's all good. What up, Solo? Don't you need at least 9 to be available? No, you need 8. 8 active, which there is some speculation that Anunoby got away with the fine to make sure that the NBA didn't have to cancel that game or something, right? About to play some with the. Oh, that's Mouse. Okay, that's Mouse. Oh, what's up, Mouse? Josh Jennings, Mouse. All right, cool. All right, let's go start breaking this game down. Lakers, a rare first game at lock. 7:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off here. Miami Heat hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers project starting 5. Dennis Schroeder, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, Marquis Morris, and Andre the Giant Drummond taking on Victor Oladipo, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G Buckets, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. We got a 205 total, a 9-point spread in favor of the home team, Miami Heat. We did mention that we do have some questionables on the Lakers side. Kyle Kuzma is the big one. Obviously, AD, LeBron out. Talen Horton-Tucker also going to be out for this one. So Lakers are going to be a little bit tough to get to with a high level of confidence or with any type of love. In and of himself, for a peripheral getter or a board getter, maybe Andre Drummond's a little underpriced on both sides. If you trust his minutes, it didn't sound like he was somebody that they were worried about conditioning minute-wise. He's coming off ripping off a toenail or something. He ended up not playing that last game, and this is kind of the same spot. Neither site really adjusted the price. So maybe you think Andre Drummond is more talented than the price point. You take a shot or two of that. Looking at the last couple centers against the Miami Heat, just looking for rebound totals. J-Val got 10 rebounds in 28 minutes. Kevin Love got 10 rebounds in 23 minutes. Miles Turner got 6 in 28. That's typical Miles Turner. And Nerlens Noel got 11 in 30 minutes. So if you're really just kind of banking on Drummond to get that poor man's double-double, maybe just skid by on a 10-10, I think it's possible, but it really just is contingent on how many minutes you give him. So I put him at about 20 minutes. If you think 20 minutes is enough, for me, that spits back a solid projection of just south of 30 fantasy points. I don't think that's a crazy shot. Outside of that, I'm really not that interested in Lakers at 7K for Schroeder, for Kuzma. Montrezl Harrell maybe comes off the board. So I'm just not like super stoked to play Lakers here, and a lot of these positions we're going to talk about are really foreshadowing to what's already the slate's already given us, right? The slate's already given us like Malachi Flynn at 6K. He's probably going to play 40 minutes. Pascal Siakam, looking at his price, he's about 8.7, 8.5. Gary Trent, like there's already a couple 7K area guys that are maybe going to already be waiting on me in a couple of lineups. So with that in mind, considering the total, the spread at 205 total, I don't see myself getting too many Lakers. And I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to get to the Heat either. It seems like one of those throwaway games, and if I did that, the slate still starts at 7:30. But is there anybody on either side that I'm sleeping on? Chat, Raj, Depot's under 7K. Jimmy Butler could always drop 50, but I really think I want Butler in more competitive pre-flop games. I'm not feeling it. Maybe Adebayo 8-4 on DK. He's had a couple of sneaky 40-50s, but anything that's giving you the warm and fuzzies must have some of.
I think my favorite player in this game is good old Marquis Morris. I think he's going to be locked into 30-plus minutes here with no Kuzma possibly, no Taylor Horton-Tucker. He's a guy that can play some small forward, power forward. He might be the second most talented scorer on this team right now with the way their health is working out after Schroeder. So I think he's going to chuck quite a few shots. 5K, there's some upside there. Give me Marquis Morris.
Okay. That's a name I was not expecting to get spit back at it. I would say maybe there's a case like at 3,800, Alex Caruso, maybe without Taylor Horton-Tucker, especially if Kuzma ended up being out or limited. I'm going to try and get the update on Kuzma. Maybe 3,800 is a chip in a chair for Caruso to fill a couple of 20 to 25 fantasy point lineup spots. I could get to that, but yeah, Marquis not really running to that. I guess I understand it, but I don't think I'm going to activate Marquis for my player pool. Let me get the update on Kyle Kuzma. He's listed as questionable with a strained left calf. He was listed as probable on Wednesday's final injury report, but he experienced, quote, significant tightness, end quote, in his calf during the shoot-around on Thursday. According to Frank Vogel, as a result, he's now considered to be a game-time call, which does, it's worth watching. So significant is the word used there. So if he's unable to go, yeah, maybe Caruso kind of steps in, and maybe Dennis Schroeder has to pick up some more opportunity. Ben McLemore, I think, is going to be available for this game. Don't see myself playing Ben McLemore. I like if I really had to stretch a tournament long shot, it would probably be Caruso, but I'm not really I'm not in love with that statement. So that's that. I'm gonna keep it pretty simple on that one. Chat, if you guys have anything else from this game, I'll double check here in the chat here. T-Spat says Kobe White over Flynn. Thoughts? If Flynn, I mean, Flynn isn't. It's not like Flynn is like the 4K free square, right? Like 5-6K ish. Yeah, but the minutes are still kind of there.
Yeah, the minutes are gonna be there. What he does with those minutes, gonna have to wait and see. I mean, I want to say, even past couple games, these same guys were kind of out. He plays 33 minutes, gets you 33, 47, 33. Like a 33 today at his price is kind of what you need, and the 40 is probably what you need in tournaments.
Right. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of game theory and leverage. We'll save the bulk of that conversation until we get there. Question in chat was, has Depot affected Butler's usage much? So just a real quick glance. Like, obviously to answer this question probably takes a little bit more diving to really understand. But I put Butler and Depot on the court together for the Heat. Got about 70 minutes of sample size, and Butler's usage, yeah, it has dipped to 18%. Depot is at 27%, but the minutes are just not enough for me to kind of believe as fact. But it's kind of like the Jokic Aaron Gordon thing, where correlation is potentially there because of what we have seen short-term sample size, but I'm not ready to especially, I definitely wouldn't even be results oriented in this game. I still think in competitive games I'm going to be looking at Jimmy Butler, but I just don't see this game profiling as competitive or high scoring enough for me to get there. Like, this is two very slow teams. But we probably spent too much time talking about Heat and Lakers. Let me wrap up chat here real quick. Giuliano, what's up, Giuliano? Gunn, Mahatma the Meccano was play last night was amazing. Yeah, all the Pacers were hard. Well, other than LeVert, but the value Pacers were pretty solid. What's up, Adam? It was weird to see you on Osmo. Yeah, that was like my fourth show. So far, I'm just like I love talking baseball, and in the like the advanced metric world, it's hard to like be able to click with other baseball minds and know that you like they're smart too, like probably smarter. And I don't often get that, so I just love being able to talk baseball with smart people. And
Gunn was Osmo's first round draft pick for the MLB season. Put him right to work.
Maybe. It looks. Hey, if you guys are really like, it looks like tomorrow it could be me and Osmo talking baseball. So that would be fun. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. I'm telling you, Ben's gonna go crazy. Point guards versus Miami. Ben McLemore's gonna go crazy. Man, we can put him in the pool. Ben McLemore is really just gonna be extremely scoring dependent. Is he on DraftKings? Is he in the player pool on DraftKings? He is not. I just have him on FanDuel. So, like, if he goes crazy, he goes crazy. I don't think
Even 100K first. If I lose to Ben McLemore, move on.
Let's move on to the next game. Toronto Raptors hosting Chicago Bulls. Projects. Did McNeil homer? Let's go. Chicago Bulls project starting.
Let's go, McNeil. Finally, something good.
Project starting five for the Bulls: Tomas Satoransky, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Thaddeus Young, Nikola Vucevic taking on Malachi Flynn, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Chris Boucher. We got 216.5 total, a 4-point spread in favor of the visiting Chicago Bulls. Toronto down to just 8 active players, suffering from a slew of injuries and suspensions now. So, an extremely high predictive value in minutes to project. And I guess the results be darned. Pre-flop, we're going to give heavy minutes to essentially 1 through 5. And that even includes Chris Boucher. And that's not something we can do often and consistent, right? I got 27 minutes on Boucher, and yeah, Vooch and Vooch is Vooch. He'll probably draw more fouls than you want him to. But 27 minutes of Boucher does have 40, 50 fantasy point potential. So the entire Raptors 1 through 5 starting 1 through 5 will be in the lineup, or in the will be activated in my opto pool for me, and then I can reach a little bit to Stanley Johnson, and I will, but Utah Watanabe and Aaron Baines become a little bit more uncomfortable. I will say in Watanabe's defense, there was a couple games earlier this season where when given the minutes, he was producing. So on an 8-man rotation, anything can happen, and there's plenty of minutes to go around. So Raptors are likely going to be trendy. Under 5K on FanDuel is Malachi Flynn. Gary Trent might lead the team in shot attempts, 6,300 on DraftKings. It burned me the other night when I tier 1'd him, but I'm going right back to the well because why can't I quit you? And then Pascal Siakam. I think Siakam has the toughest decision to make here, kind of like Karis LeVert. He was the most expensive Pacer, the last of the Mohicans here for the Raptors, but he's 8,700, he's 8,500. If he trends up in ownership, like what's the magic number to match the field or to stay away? Because he does have a world where he just drops 40 fantasy points, maybe 45, and there's going to be multiple ways to skin a cat with plenty of different options on the slate. So Siakam's kind of like the biggest question mark for me. I got him projected to play the most minutes. Obviously, he'll probably sustain the highest usage on the team. What are you doing with Siakam? Do you just lock it and who cares what the field is, or you just kind of keep your ear to the ground here and be cognitive of the leverage opportunity?
I mean, he's going to lead the team in usage with the Raptors, with the bodies that's available. He's been fairly consistent, like 46, 38, 57 past 3 games. You know the minutes are going to be there. It's the Chicago Bulls. Like, if it was the Bulls, I'd probably want to look at a fade more, but one of the top 5 matchups in the league, I think. It's just, and at that power forward slot, if Porzingis sits, Giannis is going to sit too. There's really kind of nobody else. Mm-hmm. The next guy you could really play is Thaddeus Young at 6,500 or Harrison Barnes at 63. Like, I think you just kind of pay up. I'm going to lock him in. I think I'm probably looking at 3 Raptors in every lineup.
Yeah, that's a good point.
OG Anunoby, I think I could fade, though. At 8K, it just seems like...
So, yeah.
There's almost no upside.
Maybe no upside, but, I mean, maybe... okay.
The raw points. I mean, let me see that position.
So my thought here is how, like, I feel like the field just is not going to pay AK for Anunoby.
Oh, the field definitely not, especially when Chris Middleton's 8,200 with no.
So
Giannis.
is that like reverse psychology? If no one's going to play him and he could play 40 minutes, do we play him? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Middleton's had some rough outings without Giannis.
Right.
Drew does all the big heavy lifting. So OG versus Middleton's an interesting 1v1 because I think everyone is going to go Middleton, but
but it's not impossible to go both. But to touch on that power forward point that you brought up, I mean, look at power forward. The top 4 price power forwards, Siakam could be the only guy playing. Honestly, the top 6 price, Jeremy Grant's out, Larry Nance is out. Like, Siakam by default is probably going to be the highest owned power forward.
Siakam, Bobby Portis will be the combo most people get to.
I guess Harrison Barnes is down here. But yeah, I guess they kind of make the decision for you on FanDuel. There's nowhere to get. So I guess maybe more so a DraftKings thought is what it would do with Siakam. But on FanDuel, yeah, they're kind of making a decision for you. And even if you overpay, like, this might be a spot where Siakam's 40 still hits the top lineup just based on ownership and position scarcity. So, interesting take there. Chat, what are we doing? Are you playing Raptors?
Vooch a tier 2. I mean, he's coming out back-to-back 50 bombs. The Raptors have been getting destroyed by centers.
Yeah, no girth here.
It's
9991. You know, we're at the price where we need 50.
Yeah.
Need it. We need it, but it's there. Charlie says, does Gun have tickets to the game? I got tickets to the Gun show, bro.
Talk about it.
Ips embracing fade Siakam. So I'm thinking, if I was going to be underweight on Siakam, it's looking like it would be more so a DraftKings play. Because on FanDuel, it's just, man. The other day, like, I wasn't in love with, like, Randall and Zion, whatever, and I just end up playing him because there's no one else at power forward. At least on DraftKings, you can make the case that, you know, Siakam is a forward-eligible guy, and then, yeah, you can 1v1 the Middletons, the Butlers, even Kawhi is on the south side of 10K. But I just think that area is kind of no man's land. Like, the sites might make decisions for you. I'm also curious to see if, on DraftKings they have the tiers contest. Like, some of these tiers have, like, Giannis and Porzingis and Jeremy Grant, guys like that. So I would like to utilize the potential leverage there, but I think I couldn't see myself getting less than 40% here. Like, I can go Barnes and Portis and some of those lower 5K guys, but at the end of the day, I still got to diversify. Like, if I take the value at guard on either site, I still got to diversify. So I'm going to end up with some of these high-end lineups where the salary's in the bottom half of my lineup and vice versa. So a lot of rambling there. Stewart would be chalk if Plumlee's out. Yeah, I could see that. And Stewart would be, I think he's power forward on FanDuel as well, right? What up, Casey? Don't forget about Stewart against the Sacramento Kings. I love it. If KP sits, I'm playing Boban. Solo. Don't do that. Only play Boban if he starts. Trust me. Trust me. I played Boban last time KP was out. He played in Boban, played 0 minutes. Nico O'Malley drew the start. So unless Kleber and Porzingis are out, don't play Boban unless he starts because you just don't know. Bottom 9, Conforto up, basis shoes. Okay, Mets trying to stack the fate late. Yeah, you did mention the bull side of things. Again, I also want to say that, like, a 4-point spread here seems a little loose against an 8-man team. Especially since, like, on paper, I don't think the Bulls are inherently bad. Satoransky, Levine, Thaddeus, Vucevic, Kobe White, Lauri Markkanen, like, they have pieces here. And it's just the Raptors become, one guy getting to foul trouble away from perhaps a lopsided game or a bad Gary Trent shooting night. So 4 seems a little kind of light, but I'm all the way there on the thought of Vucevic being another 50 fantasy point game. And on FanDuel, Zach LaVine's getting awfully cheap, and I get it. Like, they have people now. Like, LaVine without Markkanen, in a time without Vucevic, and even when Wendell Carter was out. Like, there was a time where LaVine was, like, the only scoring option, but at 7-2, that's getting a little dangerous. Where every now and then he's still going to pop up. He had 18, 17, 22 shot attempts his last 3 games. If you're still going to get 20 shot attempts, he took 12 3-point attempts that last game against Indy. That's a chip in a chair for 40 plus. So I definitely would not leave Levine out of my player pool. Let me see what you guys got before we move on. Gunn, is Satoransky a defender? I mean, he's probably more plus than Kobe White. Mark says, wow, guys, one of my 10 lineups finished 182nd last night. It would have been great if Porter Jr. had it. Oh, man, that's tough. Any Archie Diacono? No, not for me. No. Moving on to the next game here. Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. Project starting 5 for the Cavs. Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, and Kevin Love taking on Theo Maledon, Svi Mikhailiuk, Kenrich Williams, Alexei Pokusevsky. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Moses Brown, 218s our total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So if this Raptor stuff didn't happen midday, I could see a lot of trendy plays coming out of the Thunder side here. Another potentially short-staffed team dealing with some injuries in their own regard. Pokusevsky was in my top lineups last night, so I definitely would be willing to go back to the well here. In the middle of the game, there was an injury scare, so maybe look out for that. I'll try and get the update.
Right?
His question, yeah, but he finished. He was able to finish yesterday, so I'm gonna try and get to the bottom of all these injury scares here. Kenrich Williams is listed as questionable. He would represent a decent chunk of minutes. He had a left ankle sprain on Monday, so I think he's. I don't have an update on that. And then Pokusevsky is really kind of the main guy. I don't have an update on that. So if news comes out and develops on a couple of these guys being out, I definitely would adjust accordingly. But pre-flop, if I have a potential 30-minute opportunity from Pokusevsky again, he's cheap enough. And last night we saw that he has 40-plus fantasy point potential. On FanDuel, the Svi price versus his DraftKings price is a pretty egregious drop-off. So I would introduce Svi to my player pool on FanDuel. I'm probably not going to push the issue on DraftKings. I don't think it's impossible in DK, but on FanDuel 38, like, you get me 25 fantasy points. I mean, that dog will hunt. So I'll take some of that. Moses Brown, 5-1 on FanDuel, 6-6 on DK. Still a chance for 30 to 40-plus fantasy points. We do like bigs against the Cavs front court. Kevin Love, not enough minutes projected for me to play him with confidence. So I just don't get there. Even
coming. The vintage Kevin Love game is coming.
The vintage Kevin Love game is
30 and 10?
No, that's not.
Kevin Love will have a 30 and 10 game this year.
He will not. That's dumb. You're dumb. That's stupid. The vintage Kevin Love game is he starts the first quarter, hits 4 threes, gets like 7 rebounds, and then he leaves the game injured. And boom, we call that blue balls.
He played 26 minutes last game. It's 20, 23, 26. So this game he might play 30.
I mean, you have fun with that. I'll be over here chilling in my non-Kevin Love player pool. I will probably not get to any Cavs here. I would not be stunned if I talk myself into a share or two of Darius Garland, if that sounds crazy. If you check out, I guess we pop up his game log here. He's almost 7K on FanDuel. Like, that's such a hard click. But 56 fantasy points against the Spurs. There's a couple 30 bombs in here. Like, it seems like it's at least a range of outcome for Darius Garland to go out there and flirt with 40. So right now, he's not in my player pool, but if I talked myself into a stab of him later on, like if I see secondary contests open up and I want to toss another 100 lineups, maybe I broaden just a little bit. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. But on the Thunder side, what do you do here? I think Mikhailiuk, FanDuel, Pokusevsky, yes, and that's probably it. Maybe some Moses Brown, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Pokusevsky. It's a guy I've been playing a lot of, been coming through 30-plus minutes every game. I'm with that all day, every day. I mean, I want to play Maledon, but I probably don't get to him. He had a big game last game. He saw 36 minutes. If he sees 30-plus minutes against the Cavs, number 1 DVP matchup, I don't hate it. At 5-4, I think there's room for upside there. So a little Maledon, Pokusevsky combo, I don't mind it. You get pretty cheap combo. I mean, both those guys on FanDuel for 11K essentially. And if both those guys get you 40-plus, you'll be looking great. And then you mentioned Cleveland side. I think Kevin Love in tournaments is intriguing. 5,600, some room there. And I think Garland and Sexton. Like, I'm not going to get a ton of these guys, but I think just having one of those guys in the lineup could get you 40-plus fantasy points. Sexton's been really consistent. 35, 38, 33 past couple games. 24, 26, 22 real-life points.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the price is catching up, though. So, like, Like I said, right now, no. But if we get closer to lock and I start overthinking or some news comes out, maybe. Moving on to the next game here, Milwaukee Bucks at the Dallas Mavericks. Project starting five for the Bucks: Drew Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez taking on Luka Doncic, Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, and Kristaps Porzingis. Kleber questionable, and Porzingis a rest candidate. I don't have verbiage on that to sway me yay or nay just yet. And then I think we got Giannis doubtful, right? So this creates a usage opportunity increase for the rest of the Bucks. We've seen it a few times this year. The prices are really kind of appropriate for maybe the ceiling return. But Drew Holiday, 8-8 on FanDuel, 8-1 on DraftKings, and Chris Middleton, 8-2, 7-8. And then Bobby Portis kind of steps up here, potentially drawing the spot start, and no PJ Tucker. And, of course, this is a team that has moved on from guys like DJ Wilson to spell them. So a really strong chance that Portis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday are amongst some of the higher-owned players today. And then I think it's only fair if we go run an on-off court tool for the Milwaukee Bucks using the free on-off court tool at Fantasy Labs. There's several free sites that give you a tool like this. So really, I just want to put Middleton and Drew Holiday on. I'm not going to put Bobby Portis on, and I'll go ahead and take off Giannis. And I guess I need to add his brother into my spreadsheet here, the Nasus and Tentacumpo. Where's the tab? There it is. So with Giannis off, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton on, we got almost 300 minutes of sample size, usage rate of almost 30% for Middleton, 27% for Drew Holiday, both those players at a fantasy point per minute. And the assist rate on Drew Holiday goes to 31%. Already on the season, he's averaging 5.4 assists. So that leads me to want to maybe go look at his PrizePicks number or his prop numbers out there. But Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, both guys, I think, in a great spot to capitalize without Giannis. Right now, just a 2-point spread. Dallas is actually favored, so it looks like a strong chance at 4 quarters of these Bucks players. And I would also say, don't forget about Dante DiVincenzo. We've seen him drop 30+ in this spot as well. So 1 through 4 of the Bucks activated for me in the player pool. And then Luka Doncic, he's becoming that sleeping giant. You just feel like it's coming. He's 11 or 10-9 on DraftKings. He hasn't put up like a big boy game just yet for this price point in his last 10. Just 10 games back, 74 fantasy points. Everything past that, 60 or below. Earlier this season, he did drop 63.5 fantasy points on Milwaukee. I'm perplexed. I'm not at my wit's end with him, but I am wondering, with all of the mid-tier strong plays today, am I going to have that extra salary and that commitment for Luka to give me, a 60+ fantasy point game? Because that's probably the mark for me. Maybe on FanDuel 10-3 I can live with 50, but it's the Bucks 4, the obvious 4, and then the Mavs, with or without Porzingis. We kind of are just assuming Porzingis sits because of the rest. But with or without Porzingis, where do you rank Luka Doncic here? I would also say that without context, it's easy to write off Luka's last 10. But there are a lot of blowouts and a couple tough matchups in the mix, right? Utah's a tough matchup. Still took 26 shot attempts. Maybe that game you expect a little bit more. But the Washington game, 20-point spread, 20-point game, the OKC game, the Minnesota game. There are Portland 132-92. There are a couple blowouts to maybe give us an excuse for half of those games. Is that the edge? Is the edge to play Doncic and the field's kind of soured by him? What are you doing with Luka?
So Luka hasn't passed 50 FanDuel points in 8 games straight now. Bit of a log run for a guy that's continually priced at 10K. Just not going to get it done. Again, no Porzingis. This Milwaukee team's always going to take a step back defensively with no Giannis. I'm going to play him, but probably around 20%. I don't know where the field will be. The field might be at that 20% number, but I think I'm going to have him in the pool. Not going to fade it. He's the only guy I'm really interested in Dallas. Even if Porzingis sits, not going to play any of these other peripheral guys. Milwaukee, though, so Drew Holiday always been killing it. He's 8-8 now. So he needs a 50 bomb. He had 35 FanDuel points last game. That's not going to get it done on 8-8.
Yeah.
I mean, he's $1,500 less than Luka. You know what I mean? So it's like, how comfortable is Drew Holiday at that price?
Yeah, FanDuel, yeah, definitely the pressure's on. At 40, I'm not even like super satisfied. Like if like that 8-8, like if you just in a Utah spot, you had to choose a 1v1 between Drew Holiday and Pascal Siakam. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Just like in my head, like they're throwing it out there. If you had to choose, gun to your head, Drew Holiday or Siakam, same price, where do you land?
I think I'm leaning Siakam, but I mean it's close. Even like Lillard versus Drew Holiday 1v1. Lillard's 9,200, Drew Holiday's 88. I want to say Lillard is the easy click, just a better player, but it's Drew Holiday's a tough click today. Chris Middleton's going to be there. He's a guy that just starts slow and sometimes gets there late. Even him without Giannis, there's some games where he just doesn't get there. Dante DiVincenzo is 5,700. These guys are also kind of just like priced up, so they're not like the auto clicks. As if like Giannis was ruled out today and Drew Holiday was 6,500 and Middleton was 7,100. And
right.
Dante's 48.
So I'm gonna push it forward, but before we go on to the next game, just put it out there. If we talked about the last 10 games, we talked about a lot of blowouts. Maybe half of those games maybe lopsided. There's a Utah game in there, not a great matchup. The Milwaukee Bucks going to be one of the fastest paced teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
The last 5 point guards against Milwaukee: Steph Curry dropped 55 and 38. De'Aaron Fox 43 and 38. Damian Lillard 53 and 35. Dennis Schroeder 36 and 32. And Reggie Jackson 27-22. So it's all been greater than a point per minute. And we talked about how Luka dropped over 60 last time against the Bucks. I think I'm talking myself onto Luka on FanDuel at 10-3.
Yeah.
So we'll live with that. If Porzingis is out, look to see what they do in their front court. We saw Nicolo Melli draw the start last time.
Don't play Boban.
So the like I said, the asterisk there is if Maxi Kleybaugh's out, then they become really shallow. With Willie Cauley-Stein questionable and Dwight Powell's active. There's an opportunity to get to Boban.
Kleybaugh's gets rolled out, I'm not playing Boban.
If Kleybaughh and Porzingis is out, you wouldn't play Boban, because the last time that happened, Boban got 28 minutes.
I mean, Powell's going to be there. I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein is still game time decision. He's out, won't play.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. All right.
500.
Kleybaugh's dealing with sore lower right leg. He did not play in Wednesday's loss for the Rockets. It's the first game of a back-to-back. Maybe they saved Klaybaugh last night to use Porzingis last night and vice versa tonight. So look out for that. Of course, we're not officially... There's a couple guys that are not officially out. It's Kristaps Porzingis and Mike Conley. We're just assuming, based on historical trends, that the back-to-back is going to keep them out. So keep that in mind. They're not officially out, but it's based on history. Let's get caught up here on chat before we move on. Conley and Clark. Did the Conley news come out? If the Conley news came out like right when I said that, then that's F me, right? But so far I didn't have Conley or Porzingis out, and that's just because some of those guys don't get announced till late, right? Des says Luka's on my don't play at that price list. Okay. Seaball, Luka's rebounding has been sucking. That's what's wrong. Drew is Holiday's a defender, no Luka. So we say that, and Drew Holiday can be a great ISO defender, but pace for a peripheral getting point guard like Luka, and we looked at the last 5 point guards against the Milwaukee Bucks. It's not like he's strapping people from a fantasy standpoint. So yes, he can be a great ISO defender, but in today's game, it's I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it's not something that's get me off upper echelon guys like Luka, right? All right, let's move on to the next game here. Phoenix Suns at the Los Angeles Clippers. Suns night 2 of a back-to-back. Chris Paul is not, his name isn't involved in rest discussions either, but he did play overtime yesterday going against his old team, LA Clippers. We'll see if we get any okey dokes there. But Suns projects a starting 5: Chris Paul, Devin Booker, McCall Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton. A little nice stretch of games from him. Up against Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, and Ivica Zubac. We got a 221 total and a 6-point spread. The other day we had a lot of games right there at lock. Tonight we have a lot of back half of the slate games, and this is one of them. I do think that maybe Chris Paul is the most obtainable guy for me at 8,200, and then maybe 6-7 on DK for DeAndre Ayton. I don't have the warm and fuzzies on a 9K Devin Booker. I think he's a fine click if you get to him. Like, I wouldn't talk you off of him, but at 9K, I definitely want, some 50 fantasy point potential, and, that's a little cheaper. I can get to Drew Holiday that didn't play overtime last night. And then on the Clipper side, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, both those guys always in the mix for me. Paul George at 8,200. I just feel like that's going to trap me. Seems like hopefully I don't get overzealous on my exposure to Paul George, but I just feel like that's going to trap me here today. I just think the potential for 40-plus fantasy points is a little too thick for me, so I'm going to be there on PG. Kawhi's a interesting discussion at 10K on FanDuel, 9.4 on DraftKings, but I think we've talked about some of the higher price forwards and their potential to be out, just looking at that forward-only pool. Giannis, doubtful. Jimmy Butler's in a weird home, sizable lopsided spread. Porzingis potentially out. And then it's like Siakam and Middleton. So, Kawhi is the top dog in terms of price and playability, in my opinion, which kind of leaves him there in the mix for me, especially if you think this game could stay competitive. And it is another statement game here for the Suns. Last night going 12 rounds with the Utah Jazz. Maybe they, try to run the gauntlet here. But there's no priority plays here, no tier ones, potentially no tier twos. I think Paul George has a chance for me to be a tier two at 8,200 on DraftKings. But it's just the usual suspects. Kawhi, PG. If I don't have a single Sun, I don't feel upset. But Ayton has put together a stretch of playability at 6,700, and you look at his last 10 game campaign, there are plenty of games I'd take at this price. So because of that, I maybe include a 6-7 Ayton if his floor is going to be low 30s with a shot at 40 plus. But that's kind of it. You do anything different in this one? It's a 10 p.m. late night hammer candidate game. We got multiple games at 10 p.m. by the way.
Yeah, again, not a game I'm really looking to target too much. Am I a little worried with the Suns if they come out flat after that overtime game? Yes, a little worried about that. I mean, this is a game that I just crossed out. I mean, Kawhi Leonard at 10K, I think is a tough price set to get to. Unless I game stack this game goes overtime too, or just kind of a high-scoring game with two competitive teams. I don't see myself getting to anybody here.
Bro, I bet we have a fun late slate on DraftKings. One of those West Coast contests. 3 10 p.m. games. I bet I have some fun. I might have some fun with that. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I hear you. I mean, again, unless I game stack this game, I just don't see myself getting to any individual pieces.
Yeah, chat. You disagree? You agree? Life of Sen, CP3 on TNT in his old stomping grounds, 50 bomb. I don't mind that. If you put Chris Paul in a tougher game, sure. I can see Chris Paul and Patrick Beverley chirping at each other.
Not the DeAndre Ayton spot, maybe. I mean, coming off a back-to-back 40 bombs.
Yeah, young. So last night, maybe the overtime kind of helped the case there, but there's been plenty of playable games at 6-7 in his last 10 that I don't mind.
I don't mind. Right now, I clicked on Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Those four in a lineup. I don't hate it. If you just want to game stack this game.
Yeah, if you want to game stack, it sounds like you might be higher on Chris Paul than I am. I don't think I
get to any Chris Paul unless I play George or Kawhi in the lineup with him.
I'll definitely have some George floating by himself without the necessity of the Chris Paul correlation. But that's just that. I think Chris Paul's high median range outcome is probably 40. There is 50 plus fantasy point potential here, but I think that if we're based on medians, I think 40. And then, like I said, he played 43 minutes last night. It's Chris Paul. I don't want to get okey-doked here and, they take it easy on him minutes-wise and maybe, he plays 10 first half minutes and then, maybe they lean on him heavy in the fourth or something like that. I do worry about the minutes that Chris Paul played last night. He's definitely somebody historically been a little bit cause for concern. Let's move on to the next game here. Detroit Pistons taking on the Sacramento Kings. By the way, just to address a name I keep seeing in chat, just to say we did it, Demarcus Cousins is a player in that game And I guess at bare bones min price, like if you catch him on the first game that he's active and ready to go, I guess this would be the second game. He played 8 minutes against Portland and was almost 2x per minute. Like if you think like you might get some boogie opportunity, like I understand it, and maybe that's something I reserve for the 3-game slate. Right, if I'm going to play the 3-game slate and I can get him bare bones min price Cousins to fill a hole, sure. But I don't have a reason to really over project Cousins minutes to be anything great. But obviously he's not a 3K player, so yeah, that's all I can say on that. If stuff comes out closer to lock that you might get deeper boogie opportunity, 100% go for it. Like 15 minutes of bare bones min boogie is enough for me. But I don't want to be a vehicle in driving any type of false narrative that he's going to get 20 minutes now. Like I think they build him up. So just know that he is a name, but I would probably save him for the 3-game slate and not the main slate if I wanted to play him. All right, let's move on to the next game here. It's the Sacramento Kings hosting the Detroit Pistons. Project starting 5 for the Pistons: Saban Lee, Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey, Sekou Doumbouya, and Mason Plumlee. Maybe he's questionable. Up against De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, and Rashawn Holmes. 225 is our total of 7.5 points spread in favor of the home team Sacramento Kings. On the Pistons side, even with Magruder and Jeremy Grant ruled out, I got Mason Plumlee questionable, Jahlil Okafor questionable. I still have 11 guys projected to get double-digit minutes. So the Pistons become really hard to love, even though they're going against the league-worst Sacramento Kings. So what I will say, there's a couple guys I do feel a little bit safer in their minute projections. For me, it's Sadiq Bey and Mason Plumlee if he plays. Plumlee, of course, questionable. If Plumlee did not play, there's not a guarantee we would have that information by lock, but maybe if you do tune up that West Coast special that I'm assuming is an option today, that would create an amazing opportunity for Isaiah Stewart. And even as is, Isaiah Stewart may not be just like a crazy play on FanDuel at $200 above min price anyway, where we talked about how that position kind of forces you into Siakam because the top 6 guys may not be available. So Isaiah Stewart definitely in play regardless, but it becomes an exponentially greater play if Plumlee gets rolled out. Plumlee is dealing with concussion protocol evaluation. He was not listed on the final injury report from Wednesday, but should he not be able to play, Isaiah Stewart would be the player most likely to move into the starting lineup. So him being not on the injury report, I guess, is a good sign. If he did play, this is a 6K guy that could drop 40-plus fantasy points, perhaps lead the team in everything, considering the matchup. But if he didn't, yeah, Isaiah Stewart, and almost no matter what, Isaiah Stewart. A couple revenge narratives, I guess, in this game, if you care about that. Corey Joseph facing the old Sacramento Kings, and then DeLon Wright facing the Pistons. They were part of the deal for each other there. On the Kings side, I love Kings slates, especially when you can get the Kings against a team that I think is bad. Unfortunately, like the Pistons might be much worse than the Kings, and hopefully the Kings defense is bad enough long enough that the Pistons stick around. But the Kings getting a predictive value in minutes of like almost 35 per. If I can get 35 minutes of De'Aaron Fox at 9.3, I think a lot of people, that salary lands into or turns into like a Drew Holiday, stuff like that. I think the Kings give me an opportunity at leverage to be a little bit different. And there's not much in De'Aaron Fox's game log that like makes me fearful of this price point. And there's definitely not much in the Detroit Pistons backcourt defense that makes me fearful. 38 minutes in competitive games, 34. If you're going to give me 35 plus minutes and a shot at 50 fantasy points, I will definitely be an investor. He dropped 48 fantasy points against Detroit last time out in 38 minutes. So definitely going to have some De'Aaron Fox. I'm considering dropping him as a tier 2. And then Halliburton, Buddy Hield, those guys are definitely probably high tier 3s, maybe low tier 2s for me. Harrison Barnes is in the mix. Harrison Barnes, I might end up with more Harrison Barnes than maybe I wanted to if I just looked at the slate naked, because of how the position scarcity on FanDuel kind of creates a more clear-cut player pool just based on so many people being out. Rashawn Holmes at 7.6, I feel a little bit harder at that price point with guys like Hassan Whiteside in the mix, but at 6.5 on FanDuel, yeah, he's right back there for me for a guy that can get me 35 to 40 fantasy points. So plenty of playability in this Kings lineup. And then if you really did your due diligence and you took the time to either research the Pistons and kind of connect the strings on who should play, and if you think you figured out Dwayne Casey, the Pistons definitely have the best matchup in the league. But good luck to you, man. I think Killian Hayes at 3,200 on DraftKings. Obviously, that price kind of suggests that there's potential value there. Ham Diallo at 5.6, 5.4. We've seen 40+ fantasy points as a range of outcome for him. But is there any Piston in the absence of a Jeremy Grant that you feel like in the top matchup available, the Kings defense, that you feel like you're going to hang your hat on as a late night hammer? For me, it's like Sadiq Bey and Plumlee based on news.
I mean, so I think originally when I first saw the news, with no Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey was someone who I thought, against the Sacramento Kings, a possible tier 1 type of play. I mean, he could possibly, lead this team in shots. He had 25 real-life points last game in 23 minutes. So Sadiq Bey comes to mind at first. Mason Plumlee, if he plays the minutes and if he gets ruled in, is still questionable. If he gets ruled in, I think that's intriguing. But again, Dwayne Casey with the minutes, a little worrisome. Isaiah Stewart, probably the premier value guy of the day. Should be pretty chalky. Should see 25+ minutes. It's the Sacramento Kings. I think you just plug him and go from there. Point guard situation, like you mentioned, Saban Lee, Killian Hayes, Dennis Smith. Do I really want to play any of them? I think all three of those guys kind of just share the minutes. I don't think any of them really break the slate in this spot, so I'm probably not going to get there. In the Sacramento side, I mean, you mentioned Fox at 9.3. He'd be a 50 Bob 90 slate, so I like him. And Harrison Barnes, just a guy, again, I think upside at 6.3 price tag. Plays huge minutes every game. And, I mean, he's been pretty consistent past 34, 40, 30, 42. So I'll be okay with 30, 40 is what you want in tournaments. I think he has a shot at that against the Pistons today.
Yeah. Looking at the chat, C-Boss says, give me Sadiq and Stewart. Sadiq is so volatile, he's always on an uneasy roster. And Brody says Josh Jackson Day. So I think if you just accept that the floor is bottomed out, I think those names in this matchup offer upside.
Josh Jackson is intriguing.
Exactly.
If he has a 10-point floor or 40-point upside.
Exactly. If you're willing to forego the floor and sell out for the upside, a name like Josh Jackson, even Sadiq Bey, we've seen some 40-50s out of him this season. It's a little, and Ham Diallo, we've seen that out of him too. So you're assuming a lot of risk and it could tank you. But maybe keep those guys people that don't utilize late swap the way they should. If you have lineups that seem like if you played a chalky Chris Middleton and he finishes with 25 fantasy points, knock on wood, go out there and sell out for some of these upside plays and maybe give those lineups a little bit of life and go play a Josh Jackson, late swap to a Josh Jackson. So maybe those are the type of names that I would keep in my back pocket for that scenario. But pre-flop, it's hard to have a high level of confidence in those guys. That's it for that game. We got one game left on the docket. Before we do that, we take a pause for the cause. Remind you guys that this stream is brought to you in part by our friends at PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com. If you sign up right now using code GUNDACKER, they're going to instantly match your first deposit up to $100. So you sign up, you say, I'm going to try $10. They're going to turn that into 20 and so on and so forth. PrizePicks is player props meets DFS meets no rake. Essentially, you're playing against the house, and you can have the fun of sports betting and parlaying. Those 2-leg, 3-leg, 4-leg, 5-leg parlays. And not only that, they offer parlays on every sport. They have basketball, they have baseball, they have added cricket. I don't even know how to get information on cricket, and they offer the opportunity to bet on cricket. They have golf. One of the things they offer on golf that you don't really get anywhere else is you can bet on, I guess, is it stroke distance or something like that? It's the longest I don't follow golf, but they they also have esports stuff like that. So many different things, and it's not just fantasy sports. You could bet player props from points, rebounds, assists, 3 points made. I'm addicted to it. I love it, and they offer an incredible deal to double your first deposit using code GUNDAGGER, and we're gonna sweeten the pot just a little bit. We're gonna add sugar to it. If you sign up today using code GUNDAGGER, let me know. Send me a DM on Twitter, twitter.com/GUNDAGGER. Be like, yo, Gun, I signed up, I used your code, I deposited, I'm playing. And I'll be like, all right, cool. What I'll do is I'll wait in the morning. Every morning they send me a list of people signing up using code GUNDAGGER, and I'm going to give you a free week of RunDFS.com VIP just for signing up using the code. So if you want a free week of VIP, it's that simple. Like a VIP pass is like $25, right? Go drop $10 on PrizePicks, and then get the VIP pass, have the ability to play on PrizePicks, or use that same 25 to make it 50. Like it's a great deal. It's a great deal. So check it out. Tell them I sent you. Literally, put GUNDAGGER in the referral and have some fun. I have a tab in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet for player props, and it's a lot of fun. I love playing it every day. I miss my boy Rich. Hopefully he'll come back soon and start giving me that PrizePicks fire again. What up, Jim? How about Holmes tonight? I like Holmes more so on FanDuel than DK. It's about $1,000 difference. I think he becomes a better play on FanDuel, which is already a site that is better suited for centers because of blocks and steals and stuff like that. But I don't think he's off limits on DK. I just like him a little bit more on FanDuel because of the discount that we're getting. Also on DraftKings, Pascal Siakam is center eligible, so it just makes him a tougher play on DraftKings, whereas on FanDuel, Siakam's power forward only, right? What up, Lorenza? How we doing? Dom Nunez with the 3-run bomb. Let's go! Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Baseball, I love baseball. One of these days I'm going to get my butt kicked on baseball, but so far so good. We got one game left on the docket. Boys and girls, Portland Trailblazers at the Utah Jazz. Jazz night 2 of a back-to-back. Project starting 5-4. The Portland Trailblazers, Dame, Dalla, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, Yusef Nurkic up against Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, and Rudy Gobert. The news on this one, we know for sure that Jordan Clarkson is doubtful, and then Mike Conley is a rest candidate. And I think kind of like Porzingis, it's a assumed thing. Like we're assuming that, and even more so considering he played 35 minutes last night against Phoenix. So we're assuming that Conley continues the trend of sitting out back to back. So if that's the case, and we get no Jordan Clarkson, we might get some really, really deep minutes on Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles against a porous defense like the Blazers and make them really, really solid plays. Mike Conley does significant things to the defensive efficiency of the Jazz. So we've seen this play out a few times this season, and I would say because of them being at home, maybe it's a little bit different. We do give them the home court advantage with the altitude, but the Blazers are not. The Blazers are different. Also, Damian Lillard, I think he went to college in Utah, so there's a little bit of narrative involved there too. But if I go to the on-off court tool on Fantasy Labs, I'm gonna take off. Actually, I'm gonna put. We've done this exercise before. If I put on Donovan Mitchell, I guess Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert. Let's just put those guys on. 630 plus minutes of sample size here. A defensive rating of 106. 106. That's the number to remember. Now, if we go take off Mike Conley and just leave Mitchell and Gobert, that 106 defensive rating turns to about 109. So they do drop back a little bit. It's actually improved based on the last time I looked at it. But the defense does become a little bit more porous. So I don't think it's crazy to look at 9-2 Damian Lillard here for a potential late 50 bomb. Donovan Mitchell should profile as a maybe higher owned play today because of the opportunity. Joe Ingles the same with no Jordan Clarkson. We might be able to push him over 30 minutes projected. Rudy Gobert is an interesting one. I do think Nurkic is a tougher matchup, obviously, than Enes Kanter, but Nurkic is still somebody we can top off with a low minute cap. Raj, what are you doing with this game? I think Mitchell, Ingles could be tier 2s to potential tier 1s, and under 8K on FanDuel. Mitchell profiles extremely well. And then I think Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, like those three are, you feel like they're eating at each other's ceilings. And maybe these are site-specific questions because there are differences in prices between. So Lillard's 92 on FanDuel, 95 on DK. McCollum's 82 on FanDuel, but 78 on DK. And DK is a little bit more rewarding to the guards. And then Norman Powell's 68 on FanDuel, but he's 59 on DK. So it's not like they're the same price on both sides, and you can maybe throw a blanket statement on them. I think they deserve individual consideration. But I'm also like, I wonder where do you land on the Blazers and the Jazz?
So for the Jazz, I think Joe Ingles is probably going to be a kind of a tier 1 play with no Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, most likely I would say. Sitting out, I think Joe Ingles at his price tag, the usage that'll be there entering the starting lineup. With, I think, Donovan Mitchell, I just think it's natural playing that many minutes, taking 35 shots in a back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out a little flat. I really like Joe Ingles. Mitchell at his price, I mean, it seems like a lot, but again, that 40 minutes, 35 shots taken, how he's going to come out in a back-to-back after overtime game, a little worried about that. So, I mean, he's probably going to be the highest owned shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell, I think. So I think that's an interesting fade if you just want to do kind of the game theory and the back-to-back
I wish it was like a bad matchup.
But it's a great matchup. Yeah, it's a great matchup. So it's tricky. But I think you're just going to have to play whether you want to be under the field, over the field. I probably don't get to any Norman Powell, just small forward, just like too many other guys with Middleton. I probably didn't play OG and going to be over Norman Powell. And I think Lillard is a good play at 9-2. Seems a little cheap there. Coming off a couple down games, but this could be a bounce back 50-point spot here.
So Lillard's last 3 games against the Jazz, 28, 66, 78. The 66 and 78 are last season, but the 66 is at Utah, 43 minutes. Obviously, I think his usage and his responsibility with CJ and Norman Powell there, he doesn't have to do as much as often, but I still think there's a 9-5, like the opportunity for those 10K Dame games are still there. 38 minutes against the Clippers, only 14 shot attempts, but maybe I need the 20+ shot attempt Dame. Maybe I'm over. Maybe the heart wants Dame too much. But I just can't see myself not having some Damian Lillard here.
Yeah.
I need him for 50. I guess like my pushback against Dame is, do I like De'Aaron Fox more?
That's an interesting 1v1. I mean, I think I'm leaning towards Fox, but Damian Lillard is clearly the better player. So, I mean, on raw talent, I'm going Lillard. On matchup, I'm going Fox. Usage, I think they're definitely about the same. I want to mention Enes Kanter, 5,800 with no Nurkic possibly.
With Lillard, we've seen CJ McCollum take over a game. With the Kings, you don't really see the other guys taking over.
It's more Fox really kind of controlling the game while McCollum can definitely do his thing.
Yeah, maybe I do like Fox more than Lillard.
But McCollum's intriguing too at 8,200.
Agreed. Same with Powell. Also, I want to mention Enes Kanter here. He's 5'8" on FanDuel, 6'1" on DK. So he's kind of in the Kelly Olynyk area where the price seems like but they just keep dropping 40. And we saw even before Nurkic was, or even the last stretch where Nurkic was in, Kanter had a couple of games where he was just able to run free and wild as essentially the sixth man. And even in like mid-20s to probably still getting close to 30 minutes, he was still going for mid-30s, 40. So if that's a range of outcome here, I maybe don't have zero Kanter. At least maybe on the main slate I don't forget Kanter exists, because I don't think Nurkic necessarily makes Kanter unplayable if we keep Nurkic at under a 25-minute projection. Right now I got him at 22. Let's get caught up on chat here before we get out of here. Life of Senses, Dame's coming off a dud game. I like it. I'm with that. Gunwise, Covington at 5,900 on FanDuel. I'll put him at tier 3 for sure. Yeah, chip it a chair on FanDuel because of how shallow the playability of everyone that's potentially available on the power forward position is for sure. Ingles sucks so bad lately, though, even when Conley or Mitchell has been out the past few times. I mean, we got to have goldfish memory. Maybe lately it's not been what you want, but let's run DKB by game log without. Let's go Mike Conley. Let's go last 10 games. Not only that, you got to remember, Jordan Clarkson's not in the mix. So Clarkson is probably the odds-on favorite to be 6th man of the year. He could be 15, 20 real points. Also, if you look at the last 10 games of Ingles without Conley, there's only 2 games below 27 DKP and only 3 games below 30. So maybe lately he's been tough, but without Conley, he's been pretty consistent for 30. And obviously without Clarkson, I think it only gets stronger and the match is strong. So Ingles has a chance for me to be a tier 1 option from where I'm sitting now. Any Bojan on FanDuel since he's that small forward? So Bojan, we have this saying in the RunDFS.com Discord, he's 15 or 50. It's like it never just seems to be an average game from him. So maybe I guess if you, I don't know, if you're believing in the 50 side, I don't think at 5-3 I gotta have 30 fantasy points. If you sprinkle them in tournaments, sure. I don't think I could play him in like 10 or less lineups, even though small forward and power forward are pretty rough. But he's about the same price as Saddiq Bey. Saddiq Bey does catch the Kings, and maybe Saddiq Bey. If you put Bojan and Saddiq Bey at the same minutes, I probably lean Saddiq Bey. But minutes on Saddiq Bey based on Dwayne Casey is very, very volatile. Maybe Stanley Johnson as a 4-4. Not fun play, but with the Raptors being 8-man rotation, maybe he's in the mix. So like looking at the position, I definitely don't think it's crazy that you would end up with some Bojan, but it's probably something that I have to get to like 25-50 lineups before I start letting him in. I'm probably just gonna lean on like Middleton, Kawhi, Buddy Hield to an extent. Even Norman Powell, I don't love it, but even a little bit of him. And yikes. Small forward and power forward are so bad today on FanDuel. Like, it's very, very narrow, the path that you have to take, or that you're most likely to take. Pokusevski is a power forward on FanDuel, so it helps out that. But yeah, I get it, but I'm not running to it. I'm looking up the night slate BVP for baseball, and I type BVP Ingles. Dang. Pete, you have a RunDFS.com VIP subscription, right? We have a BVP tab in the spreadsheet. I'm not a BVP guy, but we offer that information in the spreadsheet for quicker reference if you want to check it out. That's it, chat. You guys got anything else for me? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up here in about 20 minutes. I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP voice chat. If you guys want to join me, go to RunDFS.com, make yourself an account, get signed up. Probably no stream tomorrow based on my schedule. Looks like I'll be on the Osmo channel, though, if you want to play some baseball with me tomorrow. Look for the midday Osmo stream. I believe it's at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. Don't quote me, but I think that's the time. So probably no NBA midday stream. My apologies. And then Saturday might be back. But again, kind of stay tuned. I'll post on Twitter or on the YouTube channel updates. Raj, any lasting hot takes?
Lasting hot takes. I mean, I think the popular build will be 3 Raptors and 3 Bucks in every lineup. I will say the popular hot take. I'll probably play him, but I think Donovan Mitchell bust today.
Ooh. All right. Well, that's going to do it for Raj, and that's going to do it for me, chat. As always, I appreciate you guys hanging out, making part of my day be part of your day. It's been a fun one. I'm going to sweat a little bit more baseball, waiting on the NBA pre-lock voice chat. Remember, we get an extra 30 minutes tonight before main slate locks, and a lot of the action is later in the night, a couple 10 p.m. games. So we'll have some fun with that, man. I appreciate you guys, as always. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up on your way out the door. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you just happen to not be watching this live, leave a comment. Interaction with these videos help me more than you guys might know, and it costs you nothing, man. I love you guys. I hope you guys crush it tonight. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.